like a machine. In the game we're clean, we're so keen. Powers in the sky, chasing that dream. That dream, obelisk tide, we rock the scene. Capturing rhymes while taking what's unseen. On the arc, we're kings, we're supreme. Never seen the limits in we evergreen. Time cross, very interesting. We will go claim the crown. We'll tear it down. There's nothing they can never tell and take down a crown. And we will pop them down and make the truth sound. There's something inside more blessings sneaking around. Now watch the ice still. We're fighting down. Run and charge and calculate. The power we bring, running like a panther. Hear the battle sing. We're blazing through the ranks on the move and swing. With might in our heart to take everything. Everything pillars rise as we claim our throne. For victory, we've already grown. On the field we fight, we overthrow the known. Nothing stop us, ain't no way we stand alone. Time cross, very interesting. We will go claim the crown. We'll tear it down. There's nothing they can never do to take down a crown. And we will pop them down and make the truth sound. There's something inside more blessings sneaking around. Now watch the ice still. We're fighting death. From the desert altar to the desert outpost, we crave more. With every sweet stride, we will arrive. We're opening the door. So
Hello, Governors. Welcome to Osiris League Season 9, Group Stage, Round 1. I'm your host, Plato Gaming Caster, and content creator for Rise of Kingdoms. And today we are joined by our fellow caster, Brian Koo. Glad to be back in the booth with you for another season, man.
Plato, it's good to be here with you as well. Feels like we never left.
It feels like we never left. At the same time, it feels like it's been quite a while since the last time we casted, but that is how you know the year is going by quite fast. We are back at it with yet another season of Osiris League. Today marks the start of the Osiris League playoffs, where in each realm, the 32 teams that made it through the qualifier stage start their journey through the playoff group stage. Each group has 4 teams, but only the top 2 in each group get to make it to the knockout stage. So each of these games is imperative to win to have the best chance of being one of the teams that make it out of the group. Today we are casting Group A from the realm of Horus, WIB from Kingdom 1846 versus 75 DC from Kingdom 2975. 75 DC last season were in the realm of Basset and were the Season 7 realm of Sobek champions. They're looking to prove themselves in the realm of Horus to show that they still pack a punch and to show that they're more than just an up-and-coming team. However, they will have to start their playoff campaign against one of the most experienced kingdoms in the game. WIB are veterans in Rise of Kingdoms as they have made it so close to the championship in multiple Osiris League seasons. This season, they're looking to finally lift up that elusive trophy. 2 teams, only one can take their first step towards the championship. Will 75 DC show that they are still in their Season 7 form, or will WIB begin their chase for their first championship? Brian Koo, what do you think of the matchup that we have today?
You know, I think that these are both 2 very proven teams, but what they're going to show us today is which team is still very solid. I think there are some question marks for both of these kingdoms right now, and we can use this Osiris League matchup to get a bit of a feel for where these 2 kingdoms are. With 75 DC, the rumors around this are that they are considering a merge with Kingdom 2489 in the future. I did reach out to their leader before this match, was not able to get a response from Picky Peanut about that topic. But, you know, is this a kingdom that's very focused on this Osiris League in their current kingdom, or are they focused on the future instead? With WIB, other questions, they had a very easy KVK last time. There have been some leadership changes with WIB. Last season, there was a player named Argo that would be the frontline teleport spot and cast some of the skills. This year, Argo's not on the key player roster. Raw ability is the king of WIB at this point. So WIB, which has been a very, very successful ARC team, Are they still being led by the same players, or is it a new group running the show there? I think we're going to find out a lot about these kingdoms in this match today.
Yeah. On top of 2975, they just came from that mega KVK that all of us were watching. I had the pleasure of playing. So it'd be really interesting to see if WIB will be able to, with this new group that they have. This isn't the WIB of old, but the WIB of new, trying to show that they can still play with the best of the best. So as you can see, these two kingdoms, it's 1846, 2975. You usually would not see this matchup of kingdoms in the past Osiris Leagues because of the new realm system that was implemented this season. For those that do not know, there is a new implementation of realms where the first three realms, which is the realm of Horus, realm of Anubis, and realm of Bastet, these realms are all pretty much same in strength because of the kingdom pool system. How it works is that kingdoms that were in the top 4 and above are placed in pool 1, and they're all evenly just distributed within the 3 realms. Pool 2, that is kingdoms registered that placed from 5th through 16th, so that were in the playoffs last season. They were also evenly distributed into the 3 realms. Pool 3, that's 17th to 32nd, all evenly distributed, and then same thing with the rest of the season of Conquest Kingdom. So that is why we're seeing all these different kingdoms that, 1093 have been in Horus their whole career, and now they're in Anubis. It's not this, it's this random kind of draw, but to make sure that all of these realms are evenly distributed and will be competitive. Brian Koo, what do you think of how Rise of Kingdoms kind of changed up how realms work this season?
Plato, now that you've explained it to all of us very clearly, I think it's kind of a neat change. It does a couple of things. First of all, it balances out the realms, right? And I think on a basic level, this is going to help the kingdoms that were in Realm of Anubis last season, which was the most competitive realm for sure. It's going to hurt the older kingdoms that were in Horus and the younger kingdoms that were in Bastet a bit. WIB last season in Horus, WIB finished in the top 4. They were in the semifinals of Horus, which is maybe a bit of an overachieve for them. I don't know that they're going to be a top 4 team this season with GV77 and 60 GT in their pool. But, it makes it even for everyone. And it also allows teams to play different top teams than they would have played in the past, right? These are going to be some different rivalries at this point. Although when you look at the actual breakdown, some of these are going to be repeats of last season. 60 GT and GV77 are in the same pool together. Yep. They played last season deep in Anubis, and 1093 and 1188 are also in a pool together. They played very deep in Horus last season. I think it's a nice change. And I did just want to say one thing we got from the chat is that a male from 2975 said that they would merge after Osiris League. That's some very good information about 75 DC's current status.
All right, as we get into the game here, we are finally back into, as the game loads, there you go. We are finally back into Osiris League. Oh man, Brian. This is going to be a crazy season. Crazy new skills, crazy new commanders that we didn't even get into. There has been a multitude of new skills added into this season. I believe 5 or 6 of them. If they are used in this match, we will give you guys some context as to what they are. We could see that WIB in the top left corner here versus 2975, 75 DC in the bottom right corner. So top left versus bottom right. Is this also the first season with the new map? I believe it is.
It is definitely the new graphics. The map is quite similar. It's really a visual change that we're mainly seeing.
A visual change, skill change. Let's see if there will be a strategy change in the opening here. Brian, I did see that you streamed earlier at the 13 UTC time slot. Was there anything different from the matches that you watched, or was it pretty similar to previous seasons?
The most obvious change is the rallies. We're going to see a bunch of Attila Subutai rallies as this match kicks off here. That will be a huge change to how things shake out. And I do think we will see some new skills here. In the past, WIB used hard push more than any other team, and hard push is a similar skill, but it's now cheaper to use. So I think we could see more hard push this season. And I do think we will see some brand new skills as well down the road.
We could see that the sentry used by 75 DC. No sentry placement yet for WIB. Looks like they have the obelisk desert altar sentry here.
I saw this in the earlier match too. Both teams only used like one sentry ward at the beginning of the match. They dropped a second one as they started to make contact with each other. Interesting new meta here with the slower wards getting placed. Now there's one down from WIB, just sort of tracking the early movements on the bottom side. But yeah, also, very interesting plot out to me that they're going with the wards slower now.
Looks like WIB are rallying some of the outposts here. 75 DC going for the standard obelisk rallies. We could see this is a pretty interesting sentry placement. Outpost in between the outposts, very, very, very far forward. Oh, wow, look at this. They're predicting a middle play, I believe, from 75 DC. They have a line of sentries here. We're talking about how WIB not using any sentries. Just use all three of their charges for a straight line. We could see what WIB sees. They see all of the troop movement. Yeah,
something out here. A couple of players here in the middle. With,
there is a little bit of a mid-play.
Not all speed marches. You know, it's a mix of cavalry and other marches. I did see in the earlier match, SV92, they had one player just use all 5 marches to harass the outposts of the enemy team. That might be what's going on here. If I had to guess right off the bat, I mean, what else could it be with about 7 or 8 marches here, other than a bit of an outpost harass at the beginning? But WIB is going to be ready for it.
We'll have to see what they do with that pressure. It's not too many marches. Everything else looking very, very standard. You could see the Desert Altar fight is going to commence over here. Desert Altar fight is going to commence over here. We'll have to see how the outer lane pressure and what happens there as well. It looks like there is a couple outer lane marches here coming from 75 DC, protecting the Sky Altar, trying to defend against a Sky Altar offense, which I believe they don't know exactly. Oh, they do know exactly where the marches are going. They have a sentry right here, seeing exactly how many WIB marches are going to the outer lane in this top side, making sure that they could defend their Sky Altar with this information. Probably, you know, rerouting some of the troops that were going towards the enemy Desert Altar, towards the Sky Altar. So all of these altars here are going to be contested. WIB, I don't think they have the exact same information in the Sky Altar because their sentry was just so far forward.
Yeah, you know, this is pretty balanced by 75 DC in all their lanes. WIB, a little bit slow on the top side. And you're right, they have no vision of this top side Sky Altar. But they're guessing fine. Like, they're actually guessing fine with the numbers of marches they send to the top side. So
they probably
honestly,
also saw the lines from this other sentry. They saw, because, you know, everyone was already walking towards this top side, so they probably saw the numbers there as well, just from the trajectory.
Do we think that the lines are more defined in this game now? Because obviously with the new graphics, the dots seem to be more visible for a longer distance, right? You can see the travel lines a bit longer. They're obviously using the new graphics in this arc. You can't actually change to the old graphics, I don't think. And so I wonder if the lines are giving a little more information than they used to give.
As the initial Desert Altar fight is happening in this bottom side, looks to be 75 DC starting up a little bit above the Desert Altar. Both teams using Dust Up, mirrored Dust Up usage for these fights here.
That's new. That's new as well. Using skills before the first mid fight, using skills to get these first captures. That's going to be less skill points you have mid.
It looks like WIB used the skill first, and 75 DC kind of using Dust Up in response. You can see there's a 4-second differential. I feel like it was a responsive Dust Up usage from 75 DC.
It's going to help them get more value for these opening mid fights that are all very close, like very similar numbers in all of these lanes. Buildings now opening up.
Ooh. 75 DC in this top side were able to get first tap, and they have an Eleanor in there. But there are a lot of WIB numbers.
They have Eleanors in both buildings. 75 DC got an Eleanor in the Shrine of War on the bottom side and an Eleanor in the Desert Altar on the top side.
Very interesting. Is Eleanor kind of a new... I mean, we saw Eleanor here last season as well. Is that the meta garrison right now, the best of the best garrison in Osiris League? Is that what you've been seeing?
I think we're seeing Eleanor the most. Then we're seeing Hera YSS. And Gorgo Hera, I think, is a surprising third. You know, Gorgo's the best garrison in KVK, but just doesn't seem to get a ton of run in Osiris. Like I think the Ark of Osiris is still looking for that great garrison. I think Eleanor is mediocre because she's just so susceptible to swarm. But she does do better in Osiris League at least than she does in KVK. We're seeing a lot of Eleanors. We're seeing a lot of Eleanors so far. Because at least with Eleanor, you have this like very good cavalry gear, and you can put all cav in there. The issue with the Hera YSS is you're just not getting as big of a boost from leadership stats as you get from that one troop type equipment.
That is true. The stats in the leadership set a lot lower, but you get afforded flexibility where every single march in the open field will have an impact in your garrison. You don't have to have full cavalry, full infantry, or anything like that. You'll be able to just fill mix. That is kind of the strength of the Heraclius primary here. As you can see, Heraclius primary holding off pretty well against WIB, but WIB just trying to sad face here, although they do have a rally coming in. 5 minutes until Arc spawns. Do we see some mid rotation? Indeed we do. Coming from spawn, 75 DC. Is that going to be mirrored from WIB? WIB do have some marches coming through, but they also have a little bit of a structure advantage. They were able to interrupt the obelisk here, so interrupt some of the teleports. They also have the Shrine of War. Shrine of War actually 50 seconds until first tap. Again, if you capture your first occupation, you actually get the first occupation bonus, which is 400 points for the Shrine of War. Not exactly an altar, but it's still 400 points taken away from your opponents, getting from yourself 800 point delta. Will 75 DC focus the Shrine of War? It does look like there are some WIB marches coming through though, Brian.
It's really an incredible amount of action on the sides at this point. Very few buildings have been first captured. There's still so much value in getting these first captured that we are seeing both teams allocate a ton of marches to the sides, even with just 4 minutes to go before this arc. The pressure is actually happening from both teams.
They captured it. That's first occupation on the enemy Shrine of War. That's going to be pretty big for them. That's going to be a point advantage for them in this opening in terms of structural points. Outside of that, everything looking pretty standard from what I see, Brian.
It's relatively even at the moment. The mobilization for WIB in mid is certainly earlier. 75 DC flooding a lot of people from the start zone to get to mid. Their side players are going to be a little late trying to recapture that Shrine of War. That's really the only building at the moment.
A brand new skill was used.
This skill is like, it helps your capture speed, right? This helps your capture speed. You capture buildings faster, and you gain more points from capturing buildings.
Yeah, no march for 30.
Very interesting skill by 75
For 300
DC.
seconds, your team captures buildings 60 seconds faster, gains team points from occupying buildings 30% faster. In addition, allied troops deal 20% more damage when attacking buildings and take 20% less damage from when garrisoning buildings. That indicates to me that 75 DC are going full building focus for this first arc. And you can see they capture the Desert Altar, they capture the Sky Altar. How does WIB respond? They're still pouring mid, but I don't think this is going to be a mid contest from 75 DC with the use of that skill.
Yeah, there's a ward mid that WIB can see. They can see that the numbers for 75 DC are light mid. They haven't really started transitioning yet. Now we're seeing a couple of marches on the top side break off and be like, we need to hold this Desert Altar, or at least take it back.
There's no
We're about
garrison.
to lose it.
Oh my goodness, 1 second. What? I mean, 1 minute rather, cut from 2 minutes. That is the power of no March here. Capturing buildings 60 seconds faster. Oh my goodness. This is so interesting. First game that we are casting, already seeing different strategies due to the new skills. 75 DC going full building focus, kind of sacking this arc. How will WIB respond? They already brought some marches that were going middle to help this Desert Altar. But this is already...
Look how many they still have. They have so many mid, you know?
This is so many marches coming out from 75 DC. If they get a garrison in there, it's going to be really tough. Especially because no March also decreases the amount of damage garrisons take. Oh man, Brian, what do you think of the opening strategies from 75 DC and kind of the response from WIB? Like, what's the current state of the game for you?
Look, it's a great play by 75 DC. Like they're getting over 1,000 points per minute right now on these buildings. I mean, no March gives you literally.
Oh my goodness, 1.1k points per minute. In 2 minutes, you have an arc.
Yeah,
what
I mean,
is
actually,
this?
You don't get more points. You don't get more points. It's just faster. But this is like incredible point scoring by 75 DC. And,
that is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane, Brian. What is going on? This skill is game breaking. You can't just full commit to mid anymore. You have to be careful of the no March, because if your opponents, they have 4 altars, if they hold it for 2.5 to 3 minutes, they already outscored you by an arc. Oh my goodness, WIB's in trouble. WIB's in trouble. They have to capture this arc. They have to get the structures back. We're gonna go back to the Desert Altar. 75 DC are just reinforcing this Desert Altar like it is their home. This is like their home structure, Brian.
This map is full on red. Very nice play by 75 DC here. Struggling to get garrisons in some of these buildings, but I mean, look, it's a 1,700 point lead right now. It's almost a push, Plato. I feel like this is almost a push as much as the map is very red. When this is all said and done and this first arc is returned by blue, assuming they return it, 75 DC might have a very slight lead, but they've also used that skill. The cooldown does allow them to use it again later in the match if they want to, but at least WIB knows they have this skill now and they can just like maybe hedge their bets a little bit for some of these later mid fights.
That is true. That's one skill completely dedicated to structures. That means that if there's a to the death, if there's other skills here, they have sneaky tactics as well. They use sneaky tactics probably for this mid fight. They should hypothetically have an advantage in mid every single time because it is this one skill on the bar from 75 DC that is completely dedicated to structures here. But Brian, we're saying that, oh, this is going to be okay as long as they capture the arc. If they keep it, I mean, the Desert Altar looks like it will be taken down. But even the Sky Altar that is, you know, Sky Altar looks pretty safe to me, Brian. The fact that they're holding these structures for longer and longer and longer, every single minute, that is another 1.2k points to the side of 75 DC.
75 DC is doing a nice job of gumming up the middle, making a bunch of blue marches stay mid for as long as they can. Some of these attacks are failing here. Some of the take-back attempts, it looks like they're going to get the Desert Altar back just fine.
Yeah.
Blue will get the Desert Altar back. On the bottom side, they are not going to get the Sky Altar this time. They're going to have to try again to get the Sky Altar on the bottom side.
Rally's going down, yep. This is a
As you say, though,
Tariq.
this is a map of momentum. I do think the WIB is going to probably find a bit of momentum here as a lot of red marches do sad face. So we will get back to a bit of an equilibrium point, but now at this point, it's a almost 4,000 point lead for 75 DC.
And 75 DC don't even have the skill anymore. They're still getting 710 points per minute. That's without the increase of points from No March, which is the new skill that they used.
Full stat. This is the full boost of No March. It lasts for 5 minutes. You occupy 30% faster. Well, you capture it 30% faster and gains team points from occupying. Part of this skill I don't quite understand, but you also get 20% more damage when attacking a building, and you take 20% less damage while defending a building. So it gave them like a really strong fighting boost at those buildings as well. The only part, Plato, is gains teams points from occupying buildings 30% faster.
Gains teams points.
I guess you get more points, right? That's why they had so many points. Yeah, they had so many points because of that part. Yeah. Okay.
I would assume that it's a 30% increase in points gained from structures.
Yep, exactly.
That is a pretty crazy skill. All things considered, though, WIB, they do have the arc. They are still down in points per minute, but they did get their structures back. So this is going to be even map. WIB with the arc, 75 DC with the point advantage. If you were in this arc match, would you be more comfortable being in WIB's shoes, or would you be more comfortable in 75 DC's position?
You got to go with 75 DC at this point, just for the strong, strong strategy and execution of that strategy. They're showing like a little bit more sophistication in what they're doing. From a fighting perspective, right now, the kills and severely woundeds are a little bit in WIB's favor. That's probably from the mid-fight, though. That's probably from having bigger numbers in the mid-fight. I feel pretty good about 75 DC, honestly. But it's still quite close on it. It's going to be like a 1,500 point game.
I would say that the first rotation of this arc, brand new skill used. 75 DC definitely had the momentum. They had the advantage, and WIB had to kind of play their retroactive role. They had to respond. And when you have to respond and not take the onus, not take charge in Osiris League, it's going to be pretty tough. But to WIB's credit, they do have the arc, so they can decide when to capture it, when the arc spawns, and kind of play around with the timer so that with the next arc, when that spawns, they will be ready for it.
Yeah, and it looks like they're holding that Desert Altar. It's a tough fight at that Desert Altar to hold at this time. It's a good attack by 75 DC, but the Eleanor is holding at the moment.
The rains are coming in.
Reinforcements are coming in.
Oh, they captured the arc. They captured the arc right away.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Fast arc return. Well, they have more. Well, the points are a little bit in WIB's favor, but not by a lot. They've cast.
Perhaps this is what we were alluding to earlier, Brian. It's not about the points per se, but it's about the skill usage, right? Where if you have no march, that's -1 skill potentially. Like, what do you think 75 DC benched from the typical skill bar to use no march? Do you think it'd be a to the death? Do you think it would be?
I think it's like sneaky tactics.
Some other
I think it's something like sneaky tactics. The rest of their bar, I would imagine, is like to the death, Heaven's Grace, and maybe sneaky tactics as well. And you just get rid of like master strategy. There's a sixth slot that's always there. The sixth slot always has some optionality to it.
The wild card slot. That's the master strategy slot. Yeah. That's the
exactly. That's the hard push slot, the valiant stand slot, whatever it may be. So I think their mid's not that compromised. The only thing that's going to be compromised for the next mid fight is they probably won't have 10 points, whereas WIB likely will have 10 points. That's why WIB returned that arc as quickly as they did.
Yeah, I mean, it is smart to leverage your points, to leverage any advantage you can get, and perhaps just make this an arc game. If you're losing structures and 75 DC seemingly want to go for this this building game, don't play into your opponent's strategy here. And this is exactly what we're talking about, taking advantage.
The obelisk get flipped, or the obelisk was briefly flipped actually by 75 DC.
Yeah,
that could potentially disrupt some of the teleports. It wasn't captured though, so it might be all right.
Yeah. They also disrupted the bottom side obelisk earlier in the game, so it's kind of like a 1-for-1 in these obelisks here. But yeah, that's how close this game currently is. We're looking at obelisks, talking about teleport spots. It is, even though it is in 75 DC's favor, another arc kind of just stabilizes a game for WIB. But if 75 DC somehow gets and win the second mid fight, Brian, I feel like this game is going to be super wide open for 75 DC.
Oh, for sure. And we're seeing 75 DC be much more offensive on the sides. They're closing that gap as far as the kills to severely wounded's ratio. they've shown that they're a very strong open field team in their recent KVK. So as much as WIB did win that first arc, I mean, that doesn't really mean a whole lot for the second arc because it just wasn't a fair fight. This one could potentially be a fair fight, though 75 DC does have enough of a lead right now that they could just do a side game again. We're talking about 3,600 seconds. They won't have no march off cooldown. They will not have no march off cooldown at that point. But, you know, maybe they have something else. Maybe they have hard push or something like that.
Imagine they have no march hard push on their bar. Absolutely abandoning mid, going full structure game. I mean, I don't know.
They could
maybe
also time warp,
provisioners?
right? What we thought we would see time warp being used for is you use time warp to cast to the death mid again. But imagine if you have time warp and then you use no march for a second time in the match. It's the same idea. You're using a 6-point skill to cast another 6-point skill for free.
Again, for those that don't know what time warp is, resets the cooldown of all of your team's battlefield skills. Your next battlefield skill costs 100% fewer energy to use. It is a brand new skill for this season. Brian, I believe a game that you were watching earlier in your channel, our channel is also linked in the description below. Brian, a game used time warp and, as you said, used to the death twice in the same match.
Yeah, both teams in a key third mid fight, they both used time warp and then instacast to the death for a second time. If both teams are doing it, then there's some amount of meta there, right? Like, these teams have been practicing more often than they did in seasons past because of the custom match feature. And so there's a meta that has already developed with these new skills. And I do think time warp and to the death is fairly meta. But it's more likely that WIB has it than 75 DC does.
Yeah, because of the use of no march, the time warp.
They could have both though. Like 75 DC could have no march, time warp, and to the death. I mean, why
true.
not? It's like it gives you that optionality to still have enough stuff mid, or you have the optionality to do a ton of stuff on the sides.
Oh man, Brian, this season first game already so many different possibilities with the new skills. This is an absolutely crazy match. You could see the point differential right now, 2.2k between the two teams. That is a point differential right now. The points per minute going slightly towards 75 DC's favor. But you can see 75 DC, there's 3 minutes left. They're heavily assaulting this Desert Altar, making WIB have to respond with marches that would have potentially rotated mid. Now rotating to the Desert Altar. Looks like they will have a defense, but these marches are going to be sad faces.
Arvik's rally on that Desert Altar, holding up okay. It's even with the Desert Altar, but now going down faster than the Eleanor does.
It's getting hard swarmed. And WIB swarming down the rally. But this will make their marches pretty low for a mid-fight. They are pretty close, but I don't know.
They can get there at least, though. You know, at least WIB can get to the mid. The red marches that are dying here are just going to not show up for the mid.
Yeah, they're going to be too late.
Not a bad hold for WIB there, all things considered.
This will definitely give them a tempo advantage for this mid-fight. How does 75 DC respond? Last time we saw, it looks like they're swarming down an obelisk here, trying to sad face their marches. But it's kind of too late to sad face, right? It's 2 minutes left. WIB having all of the mid control in the world. This is the advantage that we were talking about. WIB, they were able to capture the arc because they had first arc. They had the tempo, and now leveraging that tempo to where 75 DC, they're kind of late on this mid rotation. I'm curious to see if they full rotate mid or whatnot, because if you're not full rotating mid, why would you sad face the marches on cities and obelisks here? Oh man.
Yeah, obelisk capture there. I mean, there's a lot happening on the sides at this point. Tons of red marches on the top side that are not going to mid, right? A bunch of players on red decided not to go mid and fight essentially in the field instead. And then on the bottom side, you have a player just decided to take the obelisk.
Sneaky
so
tactics.
Low numbers again. Yeah.
Is this going to be? Imagine sneaky tactics to master strategies for this. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it'd be kind of fun. Just a little sneaky heist from the arc.
it's not going to be a straightforward mid fight again for 75 DC. They're going to try to do a bunch of different things instead. They're going to try to delay the arc with this sneaky tactics, and at the same time flip buildings on the outside, which they are doing. They have taken the Sky Altar on the bottom side, and they're a minute away from capturing the obelisk. I don't think they're going to hold it, but they're at least disrupting some points there as well. 75 DC, honestly, for the most part, sacking another mid.
They are sacking another mid.
Sneaky tactics is getting a good. They're in good position with that sneaky tactics, at least. Let's say that. You know, they have a good sneaky position here.
They're sacking another mid, but they're not. I mean, they do have the Sky Altar, but they were not able to get the 4 Altar Gambit that they were able to get earlier. The Arc is about to spawn. Will they try to perhaps take it from them? Let's see if they get first tap. It looks like they got first tap. Wait a second. Wait a second. Dude, they're not using the Master Strategy.
They're definitely ahead.
They're not using Master Strategy. They would have already casted it. So they're just trying to delay the arc here. Go another building game. So this is really interesting. They are up by quite a bit of points. Even if WIB captures this, they will still be ahead. 340 points per minute to 680 points per minute. Doubling the points per minute of WIB.
Both teams have a lot of skills. There's the Time Warp.
What
from
skill are they going to use?
75 DC, and they're going to use
It is
No March
March
again.
Oh, you called it. Brian Koo is a prophet here. Calling the Time Warp No March. And they timed that with the Desert Altar Assault. So they are going full in for this Desert Altar. Probably have to wait for those sad face marches to come through.
Look at the score. Look at the points per minute, right? Because they've got the Sky Altar already. Oof. They've had that Sky Altar on the bottom side. And so the points per minute is like really high already because of that No March skill, giving you that 30% more.
Brian, I'm not going to lie. This No March skill might be game-breaking for building game. It's crazy.
And this is great, though. It's great, dude. Look at how crazy this match is, dude. There's a huge fight mid. Like, the mid is not even over. Because, like, both teams have sacrificed so many marches to the sides that the mid fight is still up for grabs right now, which is a huge problem for WIB because they're getting wrecked on the sides, and they haven't even secured the mid yet.
There's so much to watch. I could watch the Desert Altar. I could watch the mid fight. We need more than one camera right now. This is action all around in this match. Oh my goodness. As we were talking about, there was a heavy rotation. They did defend their Desert Altar. That is why they don't have full control of mid. They kind of allocated some of the marches that would have came mid to the Desert Altar, which is why they still have, Desert Altar control, but they are slowly but surely losing control of this game. Even if they capture this arc, I believe the first arc is 3k, so this would be 3.5k points if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 3,500 points gets them sort of close.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, the extra points you get from that No March is crazy. And then also you're just getting more boost, when you're attacking stuff. Now, and it lasts for 5 minutes, so it's still active. It's still active right now. They've still got like another 3.5 minutes with this thing, and they're assaulting so many buildings and getting like a huge damage boost when they assault it. I mean, look at the bottom of the map. It's just all red. They're at their obelisk.
Red.
They're at their obelisk. 75 DC took the enemy obelisk with like 20 marches standing at the obelisk. It's crazy.
This is absolutely insane. It also helps. Okay, GT using tax, but it also helps with 75 DC's defense of this Desert Altar because of the 20% less damage taken from the garrison is able to. I mean, they will still take the Desert Altar, but they were able to hold it for like an extra minute because of No March. But this is going to be a huge play from WIB, at least taking back some of the structures. It is now 2 altars to 2 altars. It looks like they will be taking back their obelisk, but that is a huge amount of troops that that's minus 20 seconds from their rotation towards the Sky Altar. The map will stabilize yet again, but the points keep slipping away from WIB. WIB is doing their best. In a normal game, I would say what WIB is doing would keep them even with 75 DC, right? If we were to take away No March and the extra points and the extra, combat ability from taking structures, I would kind of say that the WIB strategy of old will kind of be even, but with this new skill, it kind of just changes the whole landscape of building game.
It's almost like the sides are more important than mid, right? Because with the old template, which you say, as you correctly say, WIB is doing is like win mid and get a little bit of value elsewhere, right? Which they kind of did. They won the mid fights and they held some buildings that they would not have held if they didn't allocate marches to that spot. That should normally work. That's like getting value for your team. But yeah, these extra points and the extra combat boosts is making life so much easier and so much better for 75 DC on the sides. You know, when they return this arc, they're going to be down like 2,500 points. They've had the edge mid. They could win the third mid fight, Plato, and like the math to me, the way it's shaping out, is that 75 DC will still have the lead. Now, it's worth noting Time Warp can only be used once, so there's no more No March in this match. That's the last of it. It's wearing off, I think, very soon here. So they're done with No March. They're done with No March at this point. And they're done with Time Warp.
That is 2 skills off the board, and you know one of them's energetics, and you know one of them is dust up, one of them sneaky tactics. What is going to be the play for 75 DC in this last arc? Because they have been, I would say, playing this to perfection right now. You know, trading structures with WIB for these arcs. But if WIB is able to defend their structures while also taking that third arc for free, this game could go back to even, or maybe even go to WIB's favor.
It will. It could. At the end of the day, you're capped by having 10 points mid, you know, unless, of course, you use stocking up. And so 75 DC is fine. They could use like 2 the death plus sneaky tactics mid, or 2 the death plus dust up mid. That's pretty good. What WIB might have is Heaven's Grace plus 2 the death. That could be a very good mid skill because they know that Bog Down is not on the other team's bar to counter it. Just from a technical perspective, WIB does have a bit of an advantage for the third mid fight. They're also winning in total kills to Sev wounds. They're winning by about 3 million right now. So open field wise, WIB is at least even with 75 DC, if not better. It's still pretty close. It's still pretty close, honestly.
Arc was captured, by the way, Brian, so insta capture of the arc yet again from WIB. Just trying to make sure this point differential stops growing, but I don't know how 75 DC continue to have the Sky Altar. I believe the Sky Altar has been painted red more than blue this whole game. Finally redecorated the Sky Altar to WIB colors. But you could see the point differential right now, Brian. 17.3 to 20.8, and the point differential continues to grow with the points per minute.
It's going to be a full arc. It's going to be a full third arc for sure. For sure.
They have to capture
we might
the
be talking about a 4 arc game. We might be talking about a 4 arc game here as well.
That is true.
Right. So
there could be potential for a 4th arc, which would be absolutely insane. If WIB is able to capture a 4th arc, I think they win. But I don't know. They have to capture this 3rd arc, and then they would be pretty much even right now with how things are going. It gives them 4K points. They'd be ahead by a little bit, but you have to keep in mind 75 DC are still ahead in points per minute. This is going to be really, really interesting to see how this game plays out. If you predicted the future before, Brian. What do you think will happen in this 3rd arc? How do you think it'll play out? Will 75 DC decide to finally go mid and contest WIB, or will they try the building game without No March?
Boy, Plato, that's a great question, dude. Like, that's such a tough call. It's honestly a really tough call. Because if they sack the 3rd arc, they might create the opportunity for a 4th arc. But here's the value of going to the sides again, right? That means that they can hold to the death for the 4th arc, right? They get some points on the sides, and they can hold their skills for the 4th arc, rather than going all in with skills on the 3rd and then being really screwed for the 4th. So I like going sides again. I like sacking this thing again, getting a few points, having maybe a bit of a lead, and then you have your points for that 4th arc, right? You have your points.
You know what I hope for? You know what I
Go
hope
for
for
it.
from Sin 5 DC? I hope there's a sneaky tactics master strategies play. Somehow this last skill is a master strategies. Oh my goodness. If there's a master strategy sneaky tactics steal in this arc match, that would just make it already a top tier arc match from the get-go. I believe in the beginning of this stream, chat predicted WIB to win this match. WIB are on the ropes right now, trying to claw back. They need this third arc to be even with 75 DC. This is going to come down to the wire.
They look a little comfy right now. Like, WIB feels a little bit comfy at the moment, right? They're getting like a much better defense on this building than they did before the last arc. Now, that's going to allow 75 DC to go mid if they want to. WIB needs to like actually cleanse some of these marches or, you know, refresh them. So, and this attack is good too, right? The marches are dying at the Desert Altar right at the perfect time to go mid. So it's fairly comfy for WIB here, going to this third mid. I think they're going to just go to mid en masse again, and maybe adjust as things go on. I think let's take a look at the wards here. The ward situation is very patchy for WIB. They actually don't have any wards on the red side of the map. They don't really see at all what 75 DC is doing here. And this is really the moment, right? This is the moment where both teams are making their decision about where these marches are going to go.
Sentry placed. There you go. They're trying to see if the Desert Altar is going to be taken. This is a Desert Altar defense sentry right here. So they're trying to make sure that there isn't...
Right? They bypassed it by going around the mountain. Look at those red marches. Which won't be enough. It won't be enough for them to take the Desert Altar. It's almost like a fake attack. It's almost a fake attack on the Desert Altar. It baited a bunch of blue marches to stay.
Oh.
And actually 75 DC is going pretty heavy mid here. Pretty heavy mid.
That's so interesting. They use the sentry here to make sure that these marches are unseen. Put some marches here. Perhaps trying to bait some of the marches. This is what we call tanking in KVK. Lazy Cat just taking one for the team. going 1 for 2. During Kingsland, this is what I tell, 60 GT is like, okay, I'm sad facing, but I'm distracting 3-4 extra numbers.
Space created.
We're creating space, exactly. So hopefully, I don't think that space will really mean much, but at least they're able to sad face, go middle perhaps. But you could see that WIB have marches here. They're like, screw sentries, we're just gonna be a human sentry here. You got the Sepia Prime just being the eyes and ears of WIB, and they do see this middle rotation. So
Look
this
at the
is
bottom side. Look at the bottom side. The bottom side is, I think, where W75 DC is like not really going mid. Like it's kind of a sack again, isn't it? Like with that many marches fighting on the sides, it's a bit of a sack. I mean, if they can get this Sky Altar again, I mean, they've had so much success at this building. They're just like, we can't stop attacking this thing. But they're gonna lose. It looks like they're gonna lose this one.
If Makote is able to solo fill yet another WIB structure, this will be a huge W for WIB. Oh my goodness!
The rally got there before the field got there. That's the issue. The rally just got there before the field. And so it's kind of a failed attack, It's a bit of a failed attack here. Well, it's close.
They're filling the rally, though. They're filling the rally. They're filling the structure. Oh, my goodness. Will they be able to take the Sky Altar? This will be a big win for them for sure. Especially because there are quite a couple WIB players committing to this defense. I think that the Sky Altar is going to fall. Oh, one last clutch defense here, a clutch reinforcement.
They need this. They need this capture. They're sacrificing mid for this. They need these
double
captures.
C.
They have to get
Will the hero double C come through? No, it was not in time. What a huge capture from 75 DC.
And they took the Desert Altar on the top side as well. They're also taking the Desert Altar on the top
they
side.
took the Desert Altar somehow. Okay, well, that's how you know. There's so much going on the map. So it was a sack. It was a sack.
It was another sack.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it this way. WIB, even if they capture this arc, they get 4K points. But they'll still be behind by about, I would predict 1K perhaps, 1.2 with a point differential and a point gain right now.
5 or 6 minutes to get the. Here's the problem. Here's why 75 DC is in a good spot, right? They're using sneaky tactics again to delay this arc. If they
Oh,
delay it a
please.
bit and it takes like 5-6 minutes to return this thing, then there's just not enough time to return that fourth arc. You know, it's too close.
Please give us some
So
master
it's-
strategies.
They need it, man. WIB needs a master strategy this arc to get a fourth one, really. But they probably
my
don't have it. They
goodness.
probably have 2 mid skills.
This is absolutely insane. What a match. Showing the power of building. You can just go building and, you know what, say, all right, we'll just take your, if you go mid, we'll just take your structures, and you can't really do much about it.
And the power of sneaky tactics also, Plato, right? Incredibly effective use of sneaky tactics by 75 DC. They're just making it so annoying for WIB to capture these arcs, right? WIB has no idea how many marches to send, and when they do capture the arc, they're having people pop out of sneaky tactics to jump them. It's just, this is why sneaky tactics gets put on so many bars, is because of stuff like this.
Oh my goodness. They just don't know the numbers, right? They don't know how many people to allocate because they can't see everyone because of sneaky tactics. Desert Storm used to be the counter to sneaky tactics, but with all the new skills, you can't really use Desert Storm on the bar anymore. Because of the strength of No March, because of the strength of Time Warp. You can't really, you know, put Desert Storm in anticipation because you can't see your opponent's skills until you get into the match. What if your opponents don't even have sneaky tactics on the bar? Just wasting a skill, a bar slot on Desert Storm is not going to be successful. We did see the Sky Altar get recaptured, so that's going to be big. They do have control of the arc.
They have control of the arc. They need to get back their Desert Altar, though, on the top side. They still don't have the top side Desert Altar back. This arc is... it's going to take a while, man. Look at all those red marches mid. It's like there's so many marches mid, so...
Yep, there are
You know
a
what's
lot of
interesting,
marches
Plato?
mid.
Is like, okay, so 75 DC did this strategy this match. Like, this is their skill bar for this match. You can assume they're going to do this every match if you want to and try to counter it with stuff like Desert Storm. But what 75 DC could do is just build a completely different bar for the next match that's like mid-focused, right?
Yeah.
So do you try to counter the enemy? Do you do something balanced? Or do you like have a specific strategy that you just like go forward with? Teams have options to do any of those 3 different sort of templates for these matches. I love it, man. This is great. These are great changes.
This is going to be absolutely game-breaking, absolutely game-changing for Arc of Osiris, for Osiris League, to where there's different ways to play. It's kind of like, you know, in any traditional sport, I particularly watch basketball. It's like, if you want to play the slow tempo, you want to play high tempo, you want to play three-point, you want to play inside. You kind of choose and pick your poison and, you know, kind of choose how you want to play the game, which is absolutely insane because, you know, we've seen building game focus, but in building game focus, usually you'd have to capture one arc, right? You'd have to at least take one mid fight, hold that arc so that your opponents can't just insta-capture arcs over and over and over again. Now with this building game with no march, you get so many points, you capture so many structures where your opponents have to respond to your building game and they can't just rely on capturing arcs over and over and over again. And you know what's funny? I believe WIB beat JST last season, making it to the top 4 of Horus in a similar manner.
Was it a building strategy, right? They had like hard push building strategy and like lost most mid fights.
Yeah, I'm not exactly. It was like building strategy versus mid fight. I forgot exactly who went what, but you know, it was such a close game. It came down to provisions, right?
Yeah,
where
there was
both
a team
teams
that like lost every mid fight and they won the match. You know.
Yeah, and now we're in this situation where, you know, it's pretty much the same thing, but the point differential is just so much because of this new skill. No march, just making it so that the points you gain from buildings, the ease of capturing buildings, just makes it building game that much more stronger.
Yeah. Plato, can I tell you something that's crazy? Go back to the arc again. Go back to the arc carrier.
Yep.
Why is he not returning that to the Shrine of War? Why are they taking more time with this arc? Like they're costing themselves a couple of minutes here. And almost ruining, this arc would already be returned, and they could potentially get a 4th arc. Why are they going back to the city here instead of the Shrine of War? That seems like a really big mistake to me.
Perhaps they were scared the Shrine of War might be contested. Just trying to make sure that it I mean, if they really wanted, they could go to the outpost, right? Like the fastest way would be going to the outpost. Perhaps they're just want to make sure they capture it in a building. There's no way that they could, you know, master strategy, steal, or there's a new skill now, a Sun Sailor. They Sun Sailor some troops over to the other side or something.
Sun Sailor is basically like there's 2 warp gates on the map, and you can warp from one gate to the other. But either team can use the gates. So yeah, it's like master strategy on steroids, for the most part. Haven't seen that one yet, but we've seen plenty of new skills, that's for sure.
I would love to see how Sun Sailor works.
2K game, and they're going to have about 4.5 minutes to return a 4th arc. That's a good amount of time, 4.5 minutes.
Yeah. But if 75 DC gum it up with yet another sneaky tactics,
that's a lot of gum. 4.5 minutes is a lot of gum.
It is a lot of gum. The point differential is getting pretty close, though. They do have control of the Sky Altar, so they are winning points from. Oh, they're losing points from it actually. They lost Desert Altar. They lost all. Oh, you know what? The outpost captures are also pretty big. Everyone, you know, kind of sleeps on the outpost, but 30 points per minute x3 is more than the Shrine of War. It's 90 points versus 80 points. So, you know, taking those outposts is actually pretty big in the grand scheme of things. If you're able to continuously just keep your enemies on your toes.
Yeah. I mean, 75 DC has the points advantage now, and it looks like they're holding the Sky Altar.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Ultimately, this 4th arc, if anyone captures this 4th arc, that team wins the match. I don't think that's in dispute. So, like, if WIB can win a 4th straight arc and get it home in time, they're simply going to win the match.
It's 4.5k points.
I think this time we have
right?
to see all in. Yeah, I think we have to see all ins from both teams for this last arc.
So 3.5, 4, 4.5. 4.5k points is absolutely huge. Are there provisioners? Will this be a provisioner game?
There's a little bit. I'm seeing a little bit, but I don't know if they're full time. I don't know if they're full time or not.
There's a couple. I will give kudos to WIB because, you know, the point differential was looking pretty dire, right? It was looking pretty tough, but they stuck to the game plan. Go mid. Let's go mid. Let's go mid. And now they're in a position where this 4th arc is absolutely make or break. They have an opportunity to win this game. They stuck to the game plan. Will it pay off? What will 75 DC do? Brian, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you because you predicted that they would sack the 3rd arc. They did. 75 DC for the 4th arc, 4.5k points. Do they dare to sack it again? Or will they go middle and contest?
I go mid. I think you're cutting it way too close if you don't go mid. You've got enough skills. You've got enough skills to go mid. I think you just have to see what you can do mid. They're losing in the field. WIB is beating them in the field on the ratio. So it's a tough ask, but I go mid, Plato. I mean, you're up 2,800. I don't think you're out gathering the enemy, really. Can you really get 1,700 points in 10 minutes without no march?
Desert Altar. The Desert Altar fell. Huge from WIB. Oh my goodness, that is an absolutely huge capture from them.
They've got to get their marches killed off, though. They definitely have to get these marches
4 minutes, 40 seconds. They do have to.
And that makes
it
even tougher, right? That capture makes it tougher to not go mid if you're 75 DC. Like,
yeah,
just those points right there.
That is at least 300 points taken away because of the 2 minutes taken away of continuous point generation. Every single minute WIB have the structure. That's another 150 points taken away from 75 DC. And then when they start generating points, it's going to be 300 points per minute because WIB gains 150, 75 DC lose 150. The building game went super well, but you know where it went awry, I think, is that when no march was on cooldown, they just couldn't execute the building game to the same extent as it did earlier.
No, and things are looking a little scratchy for 75 DC here, right? They lost their... WIB took the Sky Altar back on the bottom side as well. But look at the top side. Again, we've got these marches rotating around the mountain on the top side. And they're just like not going to be mid. They're not going to be mid. Maybe they'll take the Desert Altar, but it probably won't be enough. And
I think they're
It's
going
probably
to
just going to be more numbers for WIB again. Oh, it looks like they 75 DC is kind of sacky in the mid again. They have so many marches on the sides, you know. They're kind of sacky in the mid again.
I'm confused as to what the play is for 75 DC. They have a lot of people going middle. They have a lot of people going to the Desert Altar. WIB is responding to the Desert Altar assault. So they are bringing some of the marches here. They're also bringing some of the marches in the outer lane as well. They're trying to close the door on 75 DC. Because right now, what's the point differential right now? It's 2.7, right? Yep. So they will be up by... They'll be up by quite a bit. I don't think they could I don't think 75 DC could out-provision them by that much. It 100% comes down to this last arc, Brian. Because 75 DC were not able to get that building control during the middle stages of the 3rd and 4th arc. But I will say, 75 DC, they are aggressing early here. They see that they have the numbers.
They're getting a nice little jump. They're getting a nice little jump on WIB at the moment. And they can see the numbers. They have a ward that can see the numbers. And what they're going to see is that they are outnumbered. They're going to see that they have the temple, but they are outnumbered at mid. And their reigns are a little slow. They're a little bit slow. They might get there in time. These marches rotating from the bottom for red might get there in time because WIB is a little bit. They're chilling pretty far back right now. So
I feel like both teams are
Yeah.
Both teams are kind of like responding to one another. Like they have equal numbers in the outer lane here. Desert Altar, there's a lot of blue around that Desert Altar. There's a lot of blue around the Sky Altar. Perhaps there's a world where 75 DC might be able... They have control. There's 1 minute, 30 seconds to go. WIB, they have to start walking up now.
Yeah, it's pretty even.
Chat, who do you think's going to win this last arc? Who do you think's going to win this match? WIB or 75 DC? Put it in the chat. Show your support. Because this last mid fight will potentially decide the winner of the match. Oh my goodness. We could see that dust up already used from 75 DC. What is that last skill on the bar? I am so curious. Is it a to the death? Bog down used by WIB. And the fight commences. It is to the death by WIB. What is the response from 75 DC? Bog down to the death.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's already too late to use any other skills, Brian. The mid fight already commenced. With the skill usage, WIB should be wiping the floor. You can see the sad faces coming from 75 DC. Some sad faces also from WIB. What is that secret mystery skill? Perhaps we will never know.
It's 10 points used mid for WIB against 2 points used mid for 75 DC. Only dust up. You really wonder what that last skill is. And I guess Sneaky Tactics is on cooldown, unfortunately for them. And boy, that's all it took was just an out use of the skills by WIB.
That is an absolutely huge win from WIB. They don't have the arc just yet, but they have full control of middle. They have absolutely full control of middle. What is a play from 75 DC? They have they use 2 points in middle. The most important arc of the match.
At this point, you have to try to take side buildings and win by the sides. You're not going to stop this arc. You're not going to stop this arc for 4 minutes. There's no chance. There's too big of an escort. So you have to just hope that your gatherers plus your side game get the job done. They have a promising attack on the Desert Altar on the top side. They've got the field. They've got space in the field, and Arvix's Attila Subutai coming in. So you just got to hope you get enough buildings at this point to make up for 4,500 point arc.
Oh my goodness, Ryan. This match. If I was in this match, if I was a player, my brain cells would be fried. If I was a leader, I don't even know what would happen because this has been absolutely crazy. WIB, shout out to them, have been consistently going towards this mid fight. It's a Master Strategies! It is Master Strategies! Code red from WIB. It's a pretty far Master Strategies though. This is nowhere close to the arc.
It's an ambush. It's an ambush Master Strategy.
Oh my goodness! This Master Strategies.
That's a lot of marches, Plato. That's a lot of marches.
30 marches from 75 DC. Will they be able to stall the arc or even potentially steal the arc? What a ballsy play from 75 DC. Oh my goodness. They went mid, sad-faced, gave WIB the comfort that they won mid, perhaps won the game. And there was this sixth mystery skill that we did not know what it would be.
They just want to delay. They just want to delay it. You know, just delay this thing. You have to delay it for 2.5 minutes. We can see the outpost on the screen, and that is where the blue team wants to drag this thing. But there's a lot of red slowing them down from doing so. And now they get the pull, and they can just walk away from the outpost.
This game's absolutely insane, Brian. I do not know what's going to happen, but it is insane. You could see this arc absolutely being contested from both teams, but there are more blue marches. Blue WIB, they do have the refresh advantage. Will they be able to leverage that? Capture the arc, 1 minute, 50 seconds to go. They are pulling it. Sneaky tactics used from 75 DC. Get some of that
Gatherers
attack.
Coming in. Gatherers are coming in. 75 DC has the points per minute advantage right now. So WIB really does need to return this arc to win the match. They have no other option. They have to return this arc to win the match.
It is so close. 1 minute 25. Do you think 75 DC try to capture the outpost? I don't know. There is a garrison in there.
I stay on the fight. I stay on the carrier.
You have to try to
kill the carrier over and over.
And try to get the pull. And you have to try to get the pull.
If you can get one pull, you probably hold.
You try to get a pull, you delay at least 10 seconds. WIB using Dust Up. If they get a pull. 75 DC Arvix delaying the arc for another 10 seconds. 50 seconds to go. Absolutely clutch from Arvix. Will that be enough though? It's down again. Will they get another pull? Oh my goodness, chat. It is going to come down to if WIB can get this pull. WIB, they have it. Will they be able to bring it to the outpost? It is so close. They are inches away from victory. They lost control. They lost control. They need to capture this arc right now. 16 seconds to go. 1 foot away from victory. Will they be able to claim it? They got it. They have the arc. Are they in?
The old school legend, Ban Kun. Can he get into the
150K,
building in time?
100K, 330K. They weren't able to get it. They were not able to get in. And by the skin of their teeth, 75 DC take the victory.
Holy smokes. Clutch Master Strategy. Game-winning Master Strategy Warp Ambush by 75 DC. They knew what they needed to do, which was just delay it. And it was a game of inches at the end, Plato.
My voice is gone after that game. I cannot believe what I just saw. What a crazy game. First game we casted this season. And Brian, the craziest thing is we have a full season of this to go. So if you enjoyed this cast, our channels are in the description. We will continue to be casting on this channel right now, the official Rise of Kingdoms channel. Be sure to subscribe, like the stream, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.